Welcome back to a new video. If you think, why did you sigh so hard? Well, I filmed this video an hour ago, and when I wanted to start editing, I realized every single clip didn't have an audio. So I don't use my microphone right now. I hope this works. But yeah, welcome to this video. I'm gonna show you every single book I've read the last year. It is now January 2nd, 2026, which still feels very weird to say. But yeah, I read a lot of books last year and I really want to show you all which books I've read. And I'm gonna tell you each book, how many stars I've rated them from 1 to 5. And some books I'll talk about a little bit more, and other books I don't. So yeah, let's get started. So if you see me looking down, I have a notebook in my hand in which I wrote down every single rating for every book. So yeah. Okay, in January I read 6 books, and I actually have all 6 books as a physical copy. So yeah, let's get started. The first book I read is The Sweetest Oblivion by Daniel Lowry, and this is, oh my god, no, this is not gonna fall. And it's this pretty book. This is kind of like a mafia-esque romance. It's categorized as dark romance, but it's not that dark to me. But I rated that 3 out of 5 stars, so a very good start of the year. The next book, or books, should I say, it's a 4-part series. It is the Briar You series by Elle Kennedy. So the first book is The Chase. It's this one, and I rated that 5 out of 5 stars. Then we have book 2, which is The Risk, and I rated that also 5 out of 5 stars. Now, then the annoying thing happened. I thought I was reading them in the right order, but I happened to not do that. I accidentally read book 4 before I read book 3. So, yeah. I read them in a different order. But anyway, book 3, the real book 3, I rated as 3 out of 5. Because I wrote them down in a different order as well. But the play I rated 3 out of 5. And then the last book, The Dare, I rated also 5 out of 5 stars. So then in January we have one more book, which I got as an ebook ARC from the amazing author Adeline Brown. I got Sometimes We Run, and I did like the book, but it did trigger me very deeply, and I did not think I had any triggers, but turns out I do. So yeah, this one hit a little bit hard, which I also told her. I was like, I wanted to really, really love it, but because it triggered me so hard, it was very hard to read. But I still gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Probably if it hadn't triggered me, I would have rated it higher, because then I would enjoy the book more. But yeah, triggers. So I rated it 3 out of 5 stars, and it's so pretty. Okay, so that was every book for January. In February, I did not read anything, so yeah, I'm not gonna talk about February because I didn't do anything. Well, I did do things, but I did not read anything. So yeah, on to March. Okay, so in March I read 2 books, one of which I have a physical copy of. The first book I read is Severed Ties by Montana Fiery? I don't know. I'll put the cover of the book on the screen. But I rated that 3 out of 5 stars. And the next book I read is God of Malice by Rina Kent. It is the first book in the Legacy of Gods series. It's very pretty. This series I've read every book instead of the last one, except for the last one this year, so you'll be seeing the rest of the books too. But yeah, I rated that one also 3 out of 5 stars, so very good. So yeah, that was March. On to April, my birthday month. So in April, I only read one book. I read the first book of another series. You'll see a lot of series in this video. If you haven't seen my series, I've yet to finish on my TBR, blah 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 video. I don't know what the title is. I just looked it up. I don't know. But anyway, I talk about every single series I've yet to start on my TBR or yet to finish on my TBR. So a lot of the books you see behind me are from series. So yeah, there are a lot, I can say that. But the only book I read in April is The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. Now, I read a lot of Elle Kennedy books this year, of last year. I keep saying this year, last year. But this one is a solid 4 out of 5 stars for me. So yeah. On to May. So in May, I read 11 books in total. So there are a lot of books. But the first book I read is the second part in the, what's it, Legacy series? I don't know. Well, the second part after the Graham Effect, and that is the Dixon Rule. This one, no, huh? I have them in the wrong order. Anyway, the Dixon Rule is the second part in the series, which I rated 4 out of 5 stars. The third book in the series is the second book I read in May, The Charlie Method. I read that in May, and I also rated that a 4 out of 5 stars. Now, I also read a few Dutch books this year. I have had a lot of my YA books from when I was younger. I did not read them all yet, and I had them still on my TBR, but I tried to finish them as like easy reads in between. So I read those as well. So there are 3 Dutch books coming now. The first book I read is Wanhoop by Eva Burgers, and it's like a YA thriller kind of book, and I rated that 4 out of 5 stars. The next one is also a YA thriller, and it's called Vlucht by Natasha Tardio. This one, which I also rated 4 out of 5 stars. Then another YA thriller called Blackmail. This one by Sis Meyer, and I rated that 3 out of 5 stars. Then I have started a new series, and if you know me from my BookTok account or my Instagram, you know I love ice hockey series or ice hockey books in general, so I had to start another one, and it's this book, Collide by Bal Crabra. And I rated that 5 out of 5 stars because it's amazing. And yes, I love this. So go read this. The next book I read is King of Envy by Anna Wang. It's the fifth book in the Kings of Sin series. This pretty one. I love this. If you didn't know, my favorite color is green. Mint technically, but green too. So I love this one. But I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. The next one is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Well, I usually read only romance books, sometimes a thriller like this one. I heard heard a lot of good things about this and really wanted to read it. But I rated it 2 out of 5 stars because I kind of guessed what happened at the ending before I read the ending, and yeah, let's just stay like that. So yeah, the next book is another book by Anna Huang. It's The Striker. This very pretty one. I love sports romance, and Anna Huang wrote it. God, I can't speak anymore. But she wrote it, and I love her books, so this was a 4 out of 5 stars. Really amazing. My stack is falling. Oops. But yeah, the next book I read is Off the Market by Adeline Brown. It's the second one of Adeline Brown I got last year. But I got this as an ARC ebook as well, but I had to get the physical copy because this was a 5 out of 5. It was such an amazing book, and I would really recommend this author if you like simple feel-good romance. Well, not feel-good romance, it's spicy romance, but still very good, and you feel good after reading it. So 5 out of 5 stars. Did I say that already? I don't know. Anyway, sorry, my stack is falling. Okay, next book I read is The Right Move by Liz Tomford. This is the second book in the Windy City series, and I rated this 5 out of 5 stars. So yeah, this is also a very good series. So yeah, that was every book for May, and I can't believe I read so much in May. It's really a lot. But yeah, now it's time for June. So let's get on to it. So I read 5 books in June. I read 5 books in June. And I started the month off with a Dutch book again. It's called Jacht by Sis Meijer. It's also a YA thriller, and I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I got is the third part in a very popular series and one of my favorite series. It is Caught Up by Liz Tomford. This one. It is really good. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. So yeah, very good series. The next book I read is Knockout by Sis Meijer. It's also a Dutch YA thriller, and it's this one. I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars because it was not really my favorite book of hers. So yeah, the next one, the fourth book of June, is Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. This one. This has been on my TBR for I think like how many years? I think it's one of the first books I got when I saw videos of BookTok. I think I got this kind of at like the same time as Twisted Love, or maybe even later or earlier. I don't know, but very early on. So I finally read it this year, and it's so good. It's really amazing. I also really love this cover. Look how cute. But yeah, anyway, I rated this 5 out of 5 stars because it just couldn't get any better. And the last book I read this month is Play Along by Liz Tomford, which is the fourth book in the Windy City series. And it's the very pretty purple one. I love these covers. It's so pretty. But I rated this 5 out of 5 stars. So I ended the month off on a very good note. So yeah, can't believe we're already halfway done through the year, but I've read a lot of books this year, so I think it's time to start July. So in July I read 6 books, and 3 of them I have physical copies of and 3 of them I don't. So I'll just put up a picture on the screen of when I don't have the book. So yeah. The first book I read is Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. It's the orange one in the Rose Hill series. and I rated that 5 out of 5 stars. So very good start of the month. The next book I read is the third part in the Rose Hill series, and it's Wild Side by Elsie Silver. It's also very good. I rated that 4 out of 5 stars. If you're like me and you search for books on Stuff Your Kindle Day, you find some free books on Amazon. And I did that and found Pretty Little Lies by Ivy Thorne, I think. I'll put up the picture of the cover on the screen. But I rated that 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read a 3-part series, which in my opinion could have been one book. But it's the Claim series by Ian Brown. It's Claimed, Claimed Harder, and Claimed Darker. It basically follows the one story in 3 books. Yeah, it's I could have been one book because it's not that thick, but yeah. Anyway, I rated it 3 out of 5 stars altogether. So yeah, this series. Actually, that's all I've read in July, and I think it's time to go on to August. So let's go to August. So in August, I read 2 books, and it's 2 parts of a series. And if you hadn't guessed it by now, it's Elsie Silver again. I read Off the Races as the first book of August, and I rated that 4 out of 5 stars. And it's just the first book in the Gold Rush Ranch series. So, Gold Rush Ranch, part 1 of the Races, 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is also part of the same series. It is a photo finish by Elsie Silver. It's the second part in the Gold Rush Ranch series, and I rated that 3 out of 5 stars. So a pretty decent month. I only read 2 books, so I think it is time for September. So in September, I read 13 books, which is extremely much. So yeah, I started the month off with the last book of a very popular and one of my favorite series. It is Rewind It Back by Liz Tomford. I rated that 4 out of 5 stars, and it's the very pretty red book. So yeah, the next book I read is the third book in the Gold Rush Ranch series, and it's Frontrunner by Elsie Silver. This one, a very pretty green one in my favorite color, and I rated that 4 out of 5 stars, so very good. And then I read a few ebooks again, two to be specific, and I read Better Run by Alina May, and I rated that 3 out of 5 stars. And I also read Carnival Nightmare by Selena Winters, and I rated that 2 out of 5 stars. And then I read another last book in a series, which is A False Start by Elsie Silver, the very pretty purple one, the last book of the Gold Rush Ranch series, and I rated that 4 out of 5 stars, so very good. Then I finished another series. It is the last book in the Rose Hill series, and it is Wildcard, and I rated that 3 out of 5 stars, and it's Elsie Silver again. So yeah. Then I read another ebook, and it's called Dancing in Sin by Kelly Kelsey, and I rated that 3 out of 5 stars. And then I read some more ebooks. Touch of the Devil by Sienna Blackmore. I rated that 2 out of 5 stars. And then I read Take Me by Ella Jacobs, and it's also 2 out of 5 stars. Then for school, I had to read a book, and it's called Perks of Being a Wallflower. It's a very popular book or movie, I think. At least a lot of people knew about it. I didn't. But I rated it 3 out of 5 stars because yeah, I had to read it for school, and I don't like poetry or like books written in letters. Like every chapter is a letter, to a certain person and you don't know which person. So yeah, but the story was very good, and how do you say that? I don't know. I had like a 1 hour book talk about it in class. So yeah. The next book I read is He Found Me by Joy Mullet. I rate that 3 out of 5 stars, and it's also an ebook. So yeah. The next book I read is Lights Out by Navessa Allen. It's the first book in Into the Darkness series. So this is a very pretty one. You've probably seen this on TikTok before, but I rate that 4 out of 5 stars. So very good as well. The next book I read is also an ebook, and I read Savage Stalker by A. Hyatt. I don't know how you pronounce that, but I'll put again the cover on the screen. I rated that 3 out of 5 stars. So yeah, that was every book for September, and it's already time for October. So let's get into that. So October, I read a lot of series, like I said before, but I started. No, I finished the series. It's the third book from the Vancouver Storm series, and it's The Wingman by Stephanie Archer. Stephanie Archer is an amazing author. I think very underrated. If you don't know her, go read these books because they're amazing, and you see the others behind me. So yeah, go read this. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. The next book, and also the next book in the Vancouver Storm series, is Gloves Off by Stephanie Archer, obviously. And I rated that 4 out of 5 stars because it's just amazing. The next book I read, I wasn't that excited for to read because if you haven't seen my Unfinished TBR series, series edition, you know that I did not like The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, and I have the other two books. And I finally found the courage in October to read Terms and Conditions, which is the second book in the series. And surprisingly, I actually really liked it, and I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. So yeah, Lauren Asher, Terms and Conditions is 4 out of 5 stars for me. Then, oops. Then I read Caught Up by Navessa Allen, the second part in the Into the Darkness series. I rated that 3 out of 5 stars. Then again, I had to read a book for school, which this time was Dead Poets Society by N.H. Kleinbaum. Yeah, I rated at 2 out of 5 stars. Yeah. Next one, I started a new series, also by an author I have read books of before. It is the Queen's Cove series by Stephanie Archer. The first book in the series is That Kind of Guy by Stephanie Archer, and I rated that 4 out of 5 stars because I just love it, and it's fake marriage, and yeah, enemies to lovers. I just love it. The next book is The Wrong Mr. Right by Stephanie Archer, and the second book in the Queen's Cove series. It's this pretty one. And I rated that 5 out of 5 stars because she is a bookworm and bookstore owner, and he's a very hot server and kind of giving her like dating lessons. But yeah, this kind of takes me back to my Wattpad days, and I just love it. This book, 5 out of 5 stars. Go read this. The next book in the series is In Your Dreams, Holden Roads, and I read that next. And I rated this 4 out of 5 stars, so very good as well. The next book I read is a ebook. I got that on Stuff Your Kindle Day, and it is Ruthless King by Megan March, and that is a dark romance book, and I rated that 3 out of 5 stars. So the last book, and the physical copy I do have. So the last book I read this month is Spiral by Bal Cabra. This one is the second part after Collide. I don't know if this series has a name, but the Collide series. So this one is called Spiral, and I rated that 3 out of 5 stars. So yes, next month is November, so let's get into that. So in November, I didn't really read much. I spent a lot of time on TikTok and just kind of breaking from reading, I guess. I don't know. I kind of took a break. Didn't really feel motivated, but then I saw a TikTok or multiple TikToks about this series called Game Changers. And if you have been on TikTok and seen it on TikTok before, you know that it is the book series where Heated Rivalry is based on. And if you follow me on TikTok and on Instagram, you know how extremely obsessed I am with Heated Rivalry. But I didn't know what it was before I saw it on TikTok, and I was like, okay, I need to read this. And when I saw it was um, being published as a TV series by Crave, the kind of like a Canadian streaming service, I guess. I was like, okay, I have to read the books before I watch the TV series, and which I did. In November I read Heated Rivalry, the first book. Well, technically it's the second book, but the first book from where which Ilya and Shane are the main characters. So yeah, I read Heated Rivalry and I absolutely loved it. It's a 5 out of 5 stars. Unfortunately, I don't have the physical copies yet because they're not published yet, except for Canada and the US, I think. But they're really expensive on Amazon and others websites so far. So I'll wait just a little bit because I'm just a student. I can afford like 26 books, which cost 20 euros per book. So yeah. So I don't have those yet, but I am really excited to one day finally have them on my bookshelf because I absolutely love it. But yeah, that's the only book I read in November. So on to December, which is a very big month. So let's go. So, like I talked about in November, I read the book Heated Rivalry, and the second part to Shane and Ilya's story, the main characters from Heated Rivalry, is The Long Game. The Long Game is the sixth book in the series and the second part to Ilya and Shane's story. So, because I'm watching the series, I had to read that book first, so I read that book. But then episode 3 came along, and there were other characters introduced, Scott and Kip, if you know, you know. Well, I had to read their book too, and that is the first book in the Game Changer series called Game Changer. So I read Game Changer, and like Long Game and Heated Rivalry, I rated that 5 out of 5 stars because it's so good. It's so freaking good. So yeah, Rachel Reed can write really well. So yeah, but yeah, I read the first book, I read the second book, and I read the sixth book. So obviously, I had to read the third, fourth, and fifth book. So yeah, the third book called Tough Guy, I rated 3 out of 5 stars. The fourth book called Common Goal, I rated also 3 out of 5 stars. And then the fifth book, Role Model, I rated 5 out of 5 stars as well as the other. But I read Heated Rivalry and The Long Game, and then I read the entire series in order, including Heated Rivalry and Long Game. So technically, I read those twice. But yeah, and I never reread books most of the time. So yeah, it was a very good month, but I also read a lot of ebooks. I got a lot of books on Stuff Your Kindle Day, so I had a lot of dark romances in my ETBR on my Kindle, so I read a lot of those. So the next book I read is The Brutal Mafia Master by Myla Walker, and I rated that 2 out of 5 stars. Then I almost finished another series, and the series I read was Legacy of Gods by Rina Kent. I think I read God of Malice in March, so it was a long time ago. But I had the other books. So I read God of Pain, which is the second part of the book, the very pretty purple one, and I rated that 4 out of 5 stars. Then the third book was God of Wrath, and I rated that also 4 out of 5 stars. Then the fourth book in the series, which is God of Ruin, I rated that 3 out of 5 stars. The next book in the series, the fifth one, is God of Fury. It's an MM romance, and I rated that 3 out of 5 stars. Then I read again a lot of ebooks. The first book I read is Her Beast by Nicole Casey. I rated that 2 out of 5 stars. Then I read Boardwalk Kings by Gillian Frost, and I rated that 2 out of 5 stars. I don't know what it is with Stuff Your Kindle Day books and me, but I usually don't rate them very high. But the next book I read is 5 Days of Christmas Spice by Mercy Denton, and I rated that 2 out of 5 stars. And the next book I read is A Bride for the Mafia King by Arina Crow, and I rated that 3 out of 5 stars. And the next book I read is Snowed-In Best Friend by Adrian Jules, and I rated that 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I read, and also the very last book of 2025, is Shattered Obsession by Tina Spencer. So yeah, I think I read over 70 books, so I think it was 73 or 74, which is extremely high. I can't believe I read that many books. But yeah, I'm really excited for 2026. I hope it's gonna be a very great year, and I hope I am gonna read a lot of books too. And yeah, just enjoy new things and make new memories and just read. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you liked this video, and yeah, I'll see you next video. Bye.